Good morning and welcome to this edition of Coffee and a Word. This morning I have with me my dear friend Asia.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and I appreciate you inviting me.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you accepting my invitation this morning. It's really early. This morning what we'll be discussing is sex education in the church, and should sex education be taught in the church? Okay. How, in your opinion, Asia, does society and peer pressure impact the youth's view on having sex before marriage?
Well, it teaches them that there is nothing wrong with having sex before marriage. Everywhere you go, you see advertisements and billboards and movies of sex, and so they're constantly being influenced that this is okay to do.
Yes.
And marriage isn't important.
Okay. Thank you for that. And which brings me to my next key point, and that should males be teaching sex education to young women in the church? And my viewpoint is yes, absolutely. There are so many young single family homes out there with just a mother in them, and they don't have a male's perspective in situations such as sex education, sex before marriage, what it is that young men are looking for in a woman that leads to a wife. And the males in church teaching sex education can kind of help bridge the gap, because there are so many young women out there that really are so far in between understanding what it is that men are looking for as far as a wife goes. Did you have anything you want to add to that?
I agree. I think that it's important for women to hear males' viewpoints on how they view sex and what they really think about sex. I think it's important for them to know the type of woman that they're going to be taking home to see mom versus the type of woman that they're going to be sleeping with. And again, we can't neglect the fact that everyone doesn't come from a two-parent home with the mother and father. So for some youth, church is the only place that they're going to learn about sex education.
Absolutely. Which pushes me on to my very next point, and that's, I'm a firm believer in education. We tell, young women and men, don't have sex before marriage. Save yourselves, but we don't tell them why. And the reason why is because young men and women, when you have sex before marriage, you're entering into a false marriage. Anything that's false is fake. So, we're under this conception that we can put it on them or put it on her, and it's simply not going to work. So it is in the spiritual, it is in the natural, and when you join it to be soul tied, it's just for a moment, because it wasn't fake. God does not honor it, so it's not going any further. And then you introduce problems. You allow an entrance for the enemy to come in and pervert anything that could have been sanctified, anything that could have been holy, anything that would have been virtuous. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I think you addressed that perfectly.
All right, wonderful. Why doesn't the media put emphasis on saving yourself before marriage?
Well, I think it all boils down to what we were talking about as far as sex sells. So they're going to do what's in the best interest for them to make money, no matter who it affects.
Absolutely, I agree with that. It's just like, the media talks about having America being one of the most obese countries, but yet and still we push McDonald's burgers and things like that. Movies always falsely set us up and make us think that the woman with the least clothes on and the most revealing of skin gets the man, when it's simply not true. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that, Asia?
No, I think that you're exactly right with that.
Okay. Just as a reference, we're going to give you Proverbs 5:15 through 17, 1 Corinthians 6:15 through 16, as a reference on what we discussed today. We appreciate you tuning in to this edition of Coffee and a Word. Join us next time when we'll be talking about
education as far as teaching youth to find their purpose.
Thank you.